Hello, and welcome to Western Culture Explained, brought to you by the National Taichung University of Science and Technology Language Center. I'm your host, Martin. Today we are going to review a very unique form of music that was created in the United States over 100 years ago. Today I am going to tell you about jazz. Jazz developed in the African American communities of New Orleans sometime during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It developed out of the musical traditions of blues and ragtime, which were both quite popular back then. However, jazz didn't become widely popular until the 1920s, the Jazz Age. The Jazz Age is a period of time during the 1920s and 1930s when jazz music became enormously popular. Back then, alcohol was illegal, and many people would go to secret jazz clubs to listen to good music and drink good wine. Jazz was popular because of its exciting rhythm that was fun to dance to. Jazz music inspired dance crazes such as the Charleston. Young people especially liked jazz and jazz dancing. Many older people didn't like this. They thought jazz was a bad influence and called it devil's music. These words were not enough to keep young people from enjoying the work of the greatest jazz musicians in history. Some of the greatest jazz musicians in history include Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, and John Coltrane. Duke Ellington is probably the most influential early jazz musician. He was the leader of a jazz orchestra that regularly played at the Cotton Club in New York. His orchestra became so famous that it went on tour in Europe. Ellington wrote more than 1,000 songs over his 50-year career. Some of his greatest songs include It Don't Mean a Thing, Take the A Train, and The Far East Suite. Jazz is not as popular as it once was. It has changed a lot since the 1930s. You may have heard smooth jazz on the radio before. That is the most common type of jazz today. But did you know that there are other types of music that were inspired by jazz? R&B music is closely related to jazz, and soul music too. Funk, disco, and even modern hip-hop are related. Although the jazz age is over, it is still influencing music today. So jazz music has played a very important part in the development of the American musical tradition. In fact, some people refer to jazz as America's classical music. It is the foundation on which other musical traditions are built. So you can see why it's so important to our cultural history. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.